Hello everyone, and thanks very much for all the support with my videos, the likes, shares and comments. I'm very grateful, and thanks to everybody who follows me on various platforms such as YouTube as well. Today I want to speak about what's been going on in Ireland last night. Last night we saw protests taking place for the 6th week in Newtownmountkennedy, County Wicklow, a small village located about 30 miles south of here on the N11 on the road to Wexford. It used to be the main road to Wexford before the bypass came, and it is generally just one street in that village, very small place. And that has been the scene of many protests over the last 6 to 7 weeks since news broke that a location was to be used for asylum seeker accommodation in that area, a place called Trudder House, which is quite close to the GA pitch around the back of the village. And the idea behind that was to put military style tent accommodation in. And we all know there's been many reports from HICWA coming out about the disgraceful conditions a lot of people are living in absolute squalor for a lot of asylum seekers and refugees living in those conditions as well. A lot of people are making huge money out of the immigration industry in Ireland as well. But what happened last night was a huge escalation in the attacks on peaceful protesters. Now, I've seen a lot of videos of what went on, and I saw a disgraceful attack on a journalist as well, which is absolutely appalling. And it just demonstrates that this immigration policy has got completely out of hand in Ireland. People have had enough. The vast majority of people have voiced their concerns through opinion polls, through demonstrations, about the lack of consultation, about the lack of integration, the lack of basic services. And I've highlighted so much about the basic lack of services in Irish society and the huge inequalities. Today I'll just give you an example. I was speaking with a number of elderly people today who, to survive the cold winter, and it's still cold now coming into the end of April here in Ireland, they survive with a couple of hot water bottles that they leave by their side during the day, only put the heating on for half an hour a day. This is absolutely appalling. This is in a society where we have 2 billionaires have the same wealth as half the population. So if you consider that in context of all the failed policies, neoliberal policies that has destroyed people's lives, and now we have the immigration chaos on top of this, adding huge issues to people that can't access GP appointments, can't access dentist appointments, can't are on hospital waiting lists, huge amount of people that are homeless, huge amount of people that are on housing lists, and many more people who are sleeping and with friends and staying in families as well in vastly overcrowded conditions, and all around this constituency as well. This happens at a huge rate where more and more people are struggling to find accommodation. And yet last night we saw a huge push by the Gardaí, the public order unit were deployed and went and baton charged a group of people, and I saw pictures with up to 4 women that were peacefully protesting that they were charged on, which is absolutely unacceptable, to pull it very honestly, to put it mildly, because it's absolutely barbaric. The right to peaceful protest is sacrosanct in the Irish Constitution, and obviously it was very important to note in the context of what has been going on has been the railroading through of government's policies without any proper integration strategy, without any proper consultation, without community sovereignty. And this is a critical component of the lack of democracy in these top-down decisions that are happening to communities. At every protest, and many protests, you will always get 1 or 2 agitators. And looking at the videos of what happened last night, it was very clear to see that this was a huge overreaction. We've seen this many times before with the police force in Ireland. We've seen it with the attack on the Debenhams workers, many more times as well. We've seen the heavy-handed approach of the Gardaí and the public order unit coming in on top of peaceful protesters, notwithstanding the attack on a journalist. Now this is really unprecedented, I think, in Ireland. Many years ago there was an attack on a journalist who was actually at an event, but this is really unprecedented, where a journalist was on the front line and was actually voicing her concern because of an injured man that was pepper sprayed. And the Gardaí were kicking this man as well, who was essentially incapacitated. This again demonstrates the heavy-handedness to what's going on, and the government rushing through and ramming through policies without any public consultation. It's critically important now that people stand up for what's important in Ireland, in terms of having our voices heard, in terms of having our voices listened to, and also in terms of being part of the decision-making process. And what's happened in our society is that this has happened without rammed down people's throats, without any involvement of local communities. And now we've seen the heavy-handed approach of the state to force through their policies, come hell or high water, which are absolutely appalling. It's time ordinary people stand up for what's right in society. When people have genuine and legitimate concerns, they should be allowed to voice them. And as I said, the right to peaceful protest is a basic democratic right that should be upheld by everyone. And as I said, there is no need for this approach over to push in on people. But again, as I've demonstrated, we saw over the last few weeks, and I've done my videos around the issue around the Migration Pact, around these top-down policies, the failures of the Minister for Justice, the absolute lack of support that the Garda Commissioner has by his own rank and file members. And this demonstrates as well how out of hand and how out of touch these people are and how power hungry they are, which really is unprecedented and very dangerous times for when people can peacefully protest and are attacked for protesting. Much the same, as I said, what happened previously with people in Debenhams as well, the workers who were disgracefully treated there as well, and many more workers who were disgracefully treated as well. And as I said, it's ordinary people that will make a difference, ordinary people that stand up for their communities, stand up for their counties, stand up in their cities and across our country to have a country that's fair, it's decent, democratic, and people have a right to voice their views regardless of what their views are, and to have a proper democratic discussion around these issues in an open, honest, frank and transparent fashion, not a top-down approach with O'Gorman and his disintegration team and community engagement, which we've seen already here in Rathmines, the lack of community engagement around these issues as well, which in terms of pushing through policies without any community engagement. And people in this area, as I said, are struggling with housing. People are struggling in a city council complex quite close to where that accommodation is, without any proper facilities. Damp and mould, overcrowding, without any playground facilities for children either as well. And this is the reality to what's going on. And this is creating huge division in society because of these top-down diktats, and people aren't being listened to. So it's time people's voices are listened to, speak out on the issues that are important, and stand up about the issues that's happening. And again, who's profiting from this? Look at the accommodation providers, look at the big bosses with the low wages. 1 in 5 workers in Ireland are on low pay. Who's benefiting? Low wage economy. Ireland is a low wage economy. And IBEC, as I said before, Irish Business Employers Confederation, have lobbied for the minimum wage not to be increased. It's currently €12.70, and they've lobbied hard not to get that increase. And we know the extortionate cost of living for people with high rents, high food prices, high energy costs, high fuel bills. It's driving more and more people over the edge and into poverty in a country that has a huge amount of wealth, and is creating huge problems and affecting the working class most of all by putting pressure on under-resourced services that are vastly overstretched. People should say enough to this madness and stand up for an Ireland that we're proud of, that's democratic, that's independent, and that stands up for the interests of ordinary people right across our country and all our communities. So thanks for all the support on my videos, and I'll talk to you all soon. Please press subscribe to my YouTube channel, and press like as well to my other pages, Facebook and so forth as well. And thanks to everybody who supports me through buying me a coffee as well. I'm very grateful. So from Dublin today, Slán. Talk to you all soon. Bye bye.